All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Tuesday, September 19th. We got a full MLB slate to jump into in today's video. Like we always do, we're gonna go through each and every one of these games. I'm gonna give you my lean or leans on the games as we talk about them, but all my final plays, those will be in the pinned comment if you do want to fade me. Last night, you know how many games we ended up pulling out in terms of a win? Nothing. We were the dustpan. We weren't the broom. We were the dustpan. We had to take a sweeping to the face. Everything we touched turned to crap. And yeah, I just had to sit back and be quiet as all the haters in the comments being like, you suck, you stink, this is terrible. Because like, what's my response? No, it wasn't. Like, we had a chance. No, a reverse sweeping of a night is always worth another womp womp. But hopefully we look to be better today, guys. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you still do want to hit the subscribe button and hit the like button as well. Obviously we've been red hot, and one of these days was due, I guess, but it still stinks when it happens. Like, I tell you guys how excited I am to wake up early in the morning, like the sun's not even up yet, right? Wake up early in the morning, go do the video. You know, it kind of takes that excitement away a little bit when you have to wake up knowing you're walking in just to like a firing line type of thing, because yeah, we just have no ground to stand on after last night. But obviously still a good season. I saw a bunch of comments, and I want to respond to each and every comment, especially the hate ones, but once the games are over and it's late, I'm just like, all right, we'll talk about it in the next video. But guys, we've still had a very successful season, up over 30 units in the MLB, even with dropping 4 units last night. Okay, so at least we can kind of woosah, new day, right? But yeah, guys, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and let's jump into game number 1 here. We have Miami taking on the Mets. Yesterday, the Mets pull out a close one, a 2-1 win. Today on the mound for Miami is going to be Braxton Garrett. He's got a 1.6 ERA over his last 5, and in his last 3, it gets even better. A 1.15 ERA with a 1.02 whip. He's going up against Joey Lucchesi here. He's also got a 1.6 ERA over his last 5, and he's been pitching really well in his last 2 here. 5 2/3 against St. Louis 2 starts ago, 0 earned runs, only 4 hits, and then he pitched against Arizona, 0 earned runs there as well. The total sitting at 8. I like the under in this spot. I wish it was 8.5, but I hope both these pitchers can go out there and do their thing. But the play that I like the most in this is Miami in a bounce back spot. I talked about how this would be a game that Miami would lose yesterday, right? We didn't pull the trigger on it. I'm glad we didn't, because it's almost like you pick your opportunity cost type wins when you can, because we were so close to betting Miami as a final play, and we didn't, so we were able to kind of skate by there, and they end up losing. But I do think that this is a bounce back spot for them here. They're batting .409 against lefties in their last 5 games here, with a .519 on base percentage. Now, obviously, that is a bit skewed by some of the outlier type games that they had, like a couple of them against Atlanta and whatnot, but nonetheless, still seeing lefties well, and I'm going to take Miami in this spot. I do think that you're paying a little bit too much juice, like -156 right now on FanDuel, -160 on plenty of others, is a lot of juice that could keep it from being a final play, but I'll take Miami on the money line as well as the under in this spot. All right, Tampa Bay taking on the Angels here. Tampa Bay, huge favorites in this spot. They're -205 over on FanDuel right now, -210 on plenty of other books. That's going to obviously keep us off of this game. But the Angels really not playing good baseball. They've lost 5 straight games, got swept by the Tigers. Tampa Bay has been playing decent baseball, and they lose 2 against Baltimore. I think they come out a little bit hungry, and we're getting plus money for the run line. So I'll tell you, it is in the realm of consideration here for Tampa Bay -1.5. The total sitting at 8 runs. I do think that this one also goes up and over. It's been a while since Tampa Bay had a team, or not a team compete with them, because Baltimore did in the last 2 games. But when Tampa Bay was scoring a bunch of runs against Seattle, Minnesota, and Baltimore, the other team was kind of putting up 2, 3, maybe 4 runs. I do think maybe and they're still covering a decent amount of overs here. If the Angels are able to do what those teams did, I do think that we have a chance at an over 8 runs in this spot. But yeah, if I were to rank sort of plays in this game, I'd look at Tampa Bay on the run line, then maybe Tampa Bay in some sort of a money line parlay, and then we'd look at the over, because on the mound for Tampa Bay is going to be Taj Bradley, who he's let up a few runs as of late here, and he's going up against Patrick Sandoval, who's let up a few runs as of late too. 3.4 ERA in his last 5 games, and in his last 3 starts here, gets even worse. He's got a 9.22 ERA. So again, I like the over a little bit, but we have to hope that the Angels are able to give you some sort of a floor, right? Because I do think Tampa Bay is going to score some runs today. So give me them on the run line. Then we also look at them in a money line parlay as well as the over in that order, and we probably only roll with one of those as final play, if any. Cincinnati taking on Minnesota. Minnesota being one of the teams that let us down yesterday. Give me them in a bounce back spot here as they go up against Fernando Cruz, who's just an opener for Cincinnati. I think he's only opened one game this year. Anyways, going up against Kenta Maeda here for Minnesota, who has been consistent. He pitched really well in his last start. 7 innings pitched, only 2 earned runs, 8 strikeouts, 15 pitches per inning. I like the spot for him today as well, going up against the Reds, who have been pretty bad against righties as of late. 213 in their last 5 when it comes to hitting for average. But I will say this, and it gets even worse in their last 10. 198 against righties in their last 10. But I will say this. Minnesota also has not been all that great offensively going up against righties, but it is just an opener. But nonetheless, the offense hasn't necessarily been there. So I'll take Minnesota and the under in this, and both of those have a decent shot at being a final play here. You're going to be like, well, what the heck? Yesterday's game, it resulted in 10. And it's like, yeah, it took Cincinnati scoring 7 runs. Minnesota, bad bet yesterday, bad play for us. I get it. But I do think that they win this game somewhere around the 4-2, 4-3 type of a territory today. Even if it gets up to a 5-4 type of a game, we still have room to cash that under. So I'll take Minnesota in a bounce back spot here as well as the under. All right, guys, if you're looking for a way to support me and support what we're doing here on the channel, make sure to check out the Fade Me store, fademe.store. We have tons of new hoodies. I'm wearing the Fade Me retro tee right now. We also have these awesome sort of party, we call it the Fadecation collection, these button-ups, really, really cool. We have tons of cool stuff out there right now. These are just kind of like fun day drinking type attire. But if you want to look at everything, guys, you can head over to our shop wall and see all of the cool designs we have over on Fade Me. This Fade Me Athletics tee just became one of our best sellers, and it's only been live probably for, I want to say, 2.5 weeks. So shout out to everyone that has picked those up. We just launched those in hoodies as well. But yeah, if you do want to support what we're doing here at the channel, guys, make sure to go head over to fademe.store. I'll have a link for that in the pinned comment if you want to check it out and help support what we're doing here. Let's get back to the slate. Yankees taking on Toronto. I'm looking at the Yankees here in this spot. It's a pick 'em right now. You can get Yankees minus 104, but at minus 108 for Toronto. So pretty much 50-50 in this spot. When it comes to head-to-head, the Yankees have won 6 of the last 10 here, 3 of the last 4 against Toronto. On the mound for the Yankees today is Clark Schmidt, who he's had his ups and downs. He has not looked all that great recently, and he hasn't been going up against the toughest of teams. Detroit twice and Boston in his last 3, and his ERA happens to still be a 4.96 with a 1.47 whip. But the good news is that he pitched well against Toronto last time out here. It was in, earlier in the year. So I think it was either late April, something like that. He pitched almost 6 innings, 8 strikeouts, 0 earned runs. And you're throwing in the fact that this is a Toronto team that has struggled against righties as of late, batting 200 in their last 5 for average, and then 219 in their last 10. Kikichi's on the mound for Toronto, and he is a righty in the last 5 for the Yankees against righties, averaging 9 runs per 9 here against righties. A 333 average with a near 400 on base percentage. I do think that this is just a better spot for the Yankees. And if you just look at it, their offense has been 10 times what Toronto's offense has been as of late too. So I'll take the Yankees here. The total sitting at 8.5. Like I said, the Yankees offense has been going well. Toronto's really hasn't. So I'm going to look at the under. 7 of the last 10 meetings here, which I think 7 of those have hit the under. 7 of those have been this year, which I think all of them, maybe if I'm not even mistaken, have hit the under in this spot. So I will take the under as well. But I think that, with given that room for ceiling with the Yankees, I think if we go Yankees money line, I don't think that we want to double down and take the under as well. Because if the Yankees can go out there and score 9 runs themselves, then we want to be happy, right? We want to be like, oh, we took the under too. There's a wash. So give me the Yankees on the money line. I'm really trusting Clark Schmidt to do what he's been doing, and also this Yankees offense to stay relatively hot. Washington taking on the White Sox here, and I'll tell you what, I really have nothing in this spot. On the mound for Washington is Jackson Rutledge. He has a 7 ERAs, pitched once this year, 3 2/3, 10 hits allowed, 7 earned runs, a home run let up. Terrible. Going up against Jose Urena, who he's been just absolutely up and down as well. His last start out, 7 hits through 6 innings, 6 earned runs, and 8 strikeouts. What a wild, stat sheet for him there. I guess we just look at the over here. It's sitting at 9.5, which is way too high for me to really consider, pulling the trigger on this. Yesterday's game between these two teams finished at 6-1. Both these teams trending in another under direction, but I just can't ignore bad pitching. So I'm going to lean towards the over, but guys, I'll leave that at a lean. You could pretty much guarantee that if I'm being honest. All right, Braves taking on Philadelphia. The Braves have been letting us down. Continue to let us down, honestly. They've lost 4 straight games. I don't know what slide they're going on here, but now they're minus 210 favorites again. Actually, minus 215 seems like the best price you can get on FanDuel, and it's like, what are we doing? Spencer Strider's on the mound. I get that's why, but he's even had some rocky starts as of late. You're looking at Philadelphia plus 185 on MGM, staring you in your face. I don't want to lean against the Braves, but you got to prove to me that you're going to get back to winning baseball. So I'm going to lean towards Philadelphia. We had the over in this game yesterday. I think it was over 9.5 or over 9. They finished at 8. It looked like it had some wheels too, but just did not come through, just like everything that we went through yesterday. But yeah, guys, I think I lean Philadelphia, potentially on the run line to give a 1.5 to keep this game close. But I do think if the Braves are going to win this game, they'll win it by 1 million. If Philly's going to win this game, they'll win it by 1 million. These are two offenses that can kind of explode and not to call them volatile in a negative way, but it's like you're either going to have a really good offensive night from these teams or a mediocre, right? So I don't think, if the Braves go out there and bounce back, that 1.5 is going to help us. So if you're on the Philly side of things, I feel like if this becomes a final play for me, we might as well just pull the trigger on the money line for plus 185. Christopher Sanchez on the mound for them. He's not pitching all that poorly. He didn't pitch well against the Braves last start out, but he didn't pitch terribly. 7 1/3 pitched with 4 earned runs and 1 home run. Pitched late into the game, and then the wheels fell off. If they pull him a little bit earlier, maybe an inning before everything happens, he actually looks okay. Spencer Strider now has not pitched, like I said, dominantly, consistently, but he still has. His last start here was against the Phillies, 7 innings pitched, only 1 earned run. So if you're on the Braves side in a bounce back spot, I get it. The odds just are not really jiving with what I want to see today, because they're looking at a slide right now that they're 4 games deep into, and minus 215, I just can't totally trust it. So give me the Phillies on the money line. We'll sound the psycho alert alarm. We'll see if that becomes a final play. I don't know, if we have the hot hand right now. Yesterday, everything that we touched made this noise. Everything we touched, right? So I don't know if we have the hot hand. We were hot for pretty much all of September, and now it's like, boom. We'll see. We got to bounce back today. Always remember, guys, you can fade me, and you can pick up Fade Me merch. But let's go ahead and move on to the next game. I like the over in this game as well. Yesterday, we were that close. Didn't come through, but I like the over here as well. All right, Cubs taking on the Pirates here. Both of these teams been on what I would consider a nasty tear. At least the Pirates have won, I think it was 4 out of their last 6 games, and you're kind of like picking and choosing what sample size you're looking at. But the Cubs really, really bad here. They've only won 2 of their last 10, and one of those was against Colorado. The other one was against Arizona. Arizona has owned the Cubs, though. So, you're looking at this and saying, okay, well, Arizona owns the Cubs. Those are the 2 of the 3 series they've played in their last 10 have been Arizona. So maybe we go and forego that. We don't know who is pitching yet for either side. Javier Assad, I believe, is the probable pitcher for the Cubs. If that's the case and they have good odds, I am going to look at the Cubs. So that's kind of what I mean with Arizona's owned the Cubs, right? If they've played Arizona in 7 of their last 10 games and Arizona owns that team, it's like no wonder they have a bad stretch over their last 10, right? I still think the Cubs are a better team than Pittsburgh. We'll see who's pitching for Pittsburgh here. In terms of who's due up for them, it very well could be Mitch Keller, which I do think that obviously, he's probably one of the only pitchers on that team. They have a couple other guys that, when they get hot, they're worth considering, but I do think Mitch Keller is turning into what can be someone that is consistent, but we'll see who pitches for them. I like Chicago on the money line here. In terms of the total, not sure what this is going to come out at. We've seen it right around 8.5, 9 for Cubs games lately, and then for Pittsburgh, same thing. So let's just say this is at 8.5, okay? I like the under in this spot. The Cubs offense has not looked all that good, so I could see them winning this game. Neither has the Pirates. I could see them winning this game. Maybe, if say it's 8.5, we could see maybe a 4-3 or 5-3 type of game at maximum. All right, when we talk about games that I thought we were going to cash yesterday, I don't even remember the exacts. Bottom of the 9th inning, maybe it was bottom of the 8th. I went crazy after this. The pitcher in there for Cleveland walks like a million guys. Yeah, it actually was 9th, right? Walks a million guys, walks in the win. I don't know what the pitching coach or the manager are doing, just sitting there going, okay, yeah, this is working. No, dude, you left that guy in there way too long, and it burned us. So once that happened, though, that was our first result of the night. I was like, all right, it's going to be a bad night. Like, you don't have things happen to you like that without it being a bad night. Like, actually, the last time we got a reverse sweep to the face, right? We were the dustpan. I think that was the night that the White Sox closer, they had a 2-run lead going into the ninth. He lets up 2 runs, bases juiced, and then he balks. And the guy walks in, or he balks a guy in, right? So when those types of things happen, you just know, okay, it's not your night. Which, guys, not to give a little PSA or a rant in the middle of this video, but if you're in the sports gambling world, whether you're doing it for fun or anything like that, like, those nights are gonna happen, right? You can't always avoid that. You can't avoid a night in which, you know, things just don't go your way or don't bounce your way. It's about staying smart, not trying to dig yourself out of that hole, betting responsibly and getting through that, because if you put a lot of time into this and effort and you do it responsibly, there is ways to get edges and be profitable. We've shown that over years on this channel, right? So don't get down by one night. Like, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face, right? Mike Tyson. Last night we got punched in the face, still waking up early, beating the sun, getting on the grind and making a video because we love doing it and giving out picks as if that didn't happen. You know, obviously we can poke fun at it, we can take it seriously, but that night in terms of today didn't happen. We got to bounce back. If you are concerned with yesterday, you're not ready for today, you're not ready for tomorrow. Think of it like that. Think of it like that. It's pretty easy. But yeah, let's go ahead and give our take on this game. We're going to lean towards Cleveland in a bounce back spot. Logan Allen on the mound going up against Steven Cruz. We've only seen one outing from Steven Cruz, I think, last week. And he opened the game he pitched fine, but just an opener, 2 innings pitched. And then you have Logan Allen, who's definitely out for some blood. Pitched really well against Cleveland once this year, against Kansas City once this year, and then had a rough outing against them. Similar to what we talked about with Chris Sanchez, right? Pitched really well for most of the game, and then they just left him in there too long, which seems like it may be a trend with some Cleveland guys here now. But no, they left him in too long, and then all of a sudden, 2 home runs later, he lets up 4 earned runs. So I think that, you know, the stat line looks like he had 4 earned runs on 7 hits, 2 earned home runs. He averaged through 7 innings, 12 pitches per inning. So he had a good night against them. So yeah, I'm gonna lean towards Cleveland in this spot. You are paying a little bit of juice right now. The best odds you're getting -162 on DraftKings. I think it's fair. This is a play I really like today. Total sitting at 9.5 runs. We've seen Cleveland hit 5 of their last 10 in terms of an over, but Kansas City really not pulling their weight. So I'm gonna lean towards the under. All right, up next we have the St. Louis World Beaters taking on Milwaukee. And I say the World Beaters because this St. Louis team is just beating teams that I feel like they shouldn't. Taking 2 of 3 against Baltimore, was that 2 series ago? Beating Milwaukee, in which Milwaukee was heavily favored, -180-ish. Today, Trevor McGill on the mound, brother of Tyler, on the mound for Milwaukee. We've only seen him once this year, 1 inning pitched, 0 earned runs, 9 pitches. Great. On the mound against him is Drew Rom, who has struggled, but had a good start last time out. But we have to imagine Milwaukee bounces back, right? And when I say have to, it's probably another spot where I'm like, yeah, duh, Milwaukee bounces back, and they get absolutely smacked. But right now, I do like Milwaukee, -132. I trust them a little bit more. I wish we knew more about the pitcher or anything like that, but their offense going up against lefties here, they're batting near 300 in their last 10. When you look at it from a last 5 perspective, it dips a little bit, but we'll still trust the better sample size of the last 10 with a 380 on-base percentage, okay? And they're really batting for average. They're not averaging many home runs. They're not a power team right now, but still averaging 6 runs per 9 against lefties here. So I'll take them on the money line. Total sitting at 9. It's tough. This is going to sound crazy. I like the over 9. I think Milwaukee puts up a decent amount of runs today, and I think St. Louis gives you like a floor of 4 or so. So even though we saw a 1-0 game yesterday, you're probably thinking I'm an insane person, which I might be insane. But I'm looking at the over 9 runs here. I think Milwaukee bounces back offensively, and then St. Louis, you know, they have been going you know, I guess we could say 5 runs, 1 run, 5 runs, run 1, 5 runs, 1 run. I think I even said that in yesterday's video. I didn't know Milwaukee was going to score 0, but they're kind of, if they're following that trend, which it's been like 6 or 7 games, they scored 1 run. They're going to bounce back with more runs today if that trend continues. All right, here it is, guys. Texas versus the Red Sox. Nathan Eovaldi on the mound going up against his former team, the team that he even admitted he wished that they would shell out a little bit more money so that he could stay there. I think he said something like their offer was almost like repulsive or something like that. I'm paraphrasing, obviously. This is a banned spot for the Texas Rangers. I told you yesterday, maybe. They blew it. They were up, what, 2-0, 2-1, and then they lose. But this is the spot. There's no reason why this Texas team even after coming off of a loss to the Red Sox and getting swept by Cleveland, with Eovaldi on the mound going up against Tanner Houck, who has been up and down, but for the most part, other than his Yankee start, has not looked all that great. There's no reason why Texas shouldn't win this game. This is, you pretty much book it as a final play. It's a potential ban game for the Texas Rangers. I saw a lot of you guys in the comments being like, I already banned the Rangers. Well, I'm glad I didn't, because I love this spot for them today. I'm going Rangers, and if they do not pull through for us, they are permanently banned for this season. Make the playoffs, don't make the playoffs. Looking like they are now, right? But regardless, guys, no more betting on them if they don't pull this one out. Total sitting at 8.5. I slightly like the over, but I feel like we're going to have so much riding now, both monetarily and we might put 2 units on the Texas Rangers today. Like, we might get crazy. We put with so much riding on them emotionally and physically, I guess, tangibly, that I don't think we can even consider a second bet on this game, but I like the over slightly. But give me the Texas Rangers. We're slamming the desk. Hopefully that doesn't mess the video up, but yeah. This is a banned spot, backs against the wall for them, and they're watching. I said it yesterday. Their pitching staff, their coaches, their AAA team watches the videos. I know they do. They just wanted to set up a more dramatic game for today. When I said it's a potential ban game, they're like, potential. We don't deal with that. If it's a real ban game, we'll perform, which today is go out there and get the dub, Texas. And again, I'm a Red Sox fan, so like the fact that I'm going to watch this game being like, go Texas, when I'm a Red Sox fan, it is wild. But, I've done stupider things before. Like saying stupider. I don't even know if stupider is a word. I've done more stupid things before. That sounds stupid. So I'm going to go stupider. Good game yesterday between these two, Houston and Baltimore. Baltimore pulls it out 8-7. Today on the mound for Houston's going to be Hunter Brown going up against Kyle Gibson. I'd take Kyle Gibson as of right now. Hunter Brown's been kind of up and down. Both these guys, though, in their last 3, it doesn't look all that good. 6.08 ERA for Hunter Brown with a 1.43 whip over his last 3, and then Kyle Gibson a 5.8 ERA with a 1.35. I'm going to just look at the over in this game. Give me some more runs. We cashed the over with Baltimore and Tampa Bay 2 games ago. We wanted to pull the trigger on the over yesterday. Didn't make it a final play, but again, I'm glad I didn't, because if I did make it a final play, we'd probably see a 2-run game, because again, everything we touch turned to what? On that note, guys, if you're still watching, comment 22, and let's comment 22 and bounce back, okay? That'll suss out everyone from the ones that, just see the 22, because I even see the comments. I didn't even watch, but I know 22 means. All right, fine, I get it, but comment 22 and bounce back to show that you are a real OG, a real one, part of the Fade Squad, that you're confident that we can bounce back. But yeah, we're going to go with the over in this spot. In terms of a money line play, I guess I lean towards Baltimore, because like I said yesterday, you get that money with one of the teams like Baltimore. Like, they are a really good team. They've now sort of gotten back on the win streak, right? 3 games in a row, and you're getting plus 120. Even though Houston is a good team with a good offense, I do think that, that's some value for Baltimore. But I'm more likely to pull the trigger on a total here, the over 9 in the spot, than I am anything on the money line. All right, we do not have lines or odds for this game just yet. Zach Gallen, however, is on the mound for the Arizona Diamondbacks, and I'm hoping that these lines are somewhat digestible, or the odds for Arizona somewhat digestible, because they haven't been playing that great of baseball. San Francisco's actually, I should say, other than the Colorado series, because they got spanked there, has looked okay. They've still won more games in the last 10 than they have lost. And Arizona, in terms of what Zach Gallen's done against San Francisco lately, he hasn't pitched like stellarly. So I hope that we can get something right around the minus 150 mark. I'm probably way off. It's probably going to come in at like minus 180 something. But if we can get Arizona at minus 150-ish, maybe even minus 160 as a very end longest odds, or the worst odds that I would take, I think we pull the trigger on Arizona money line today. I'm going to trust Zach Gallen here at home. In San Francisco, I'm not really afraid of anyone that he's going to go up against necessarily. Obviously, they have a couple guys that, are you could say good pitchers, but no one that I'm overly afraid of. Logan Webb or Cobb, those are probably the only guys that kind of jump to mind in terms of like, all right, we'd think twice about it. But nonetheless, give me Arizona on the money line. It just depends what those odds come in at. And then in terms of, and I think the last time that they've played, the last few times, it's kind of bounced back and forth depending on pitching, right? Like, I think Arizona's been underdogs and then favored and whatnot, but Zach Gallen obviously as a pitcher that just is very good. But nonetheless, in terms of a total, if this thing comes in at what they saw earlier this year, which has been right around 8, I also like the under in this spot. They've cashed plenty of unders. If just looking at it this season alone, they've cashed 4 of their last 10 on the under when playing one another. So give me the under as well as Arizona in this spot. But I'm kind of just, hypothetical speaking here, because we don't know what the actual lines are. All right, San Diego wins another one yesterday. They have now won 7 of their last 10. They've won 5 straight games. And you could make the argument that the competition hasn't necessarily been there, but it has. Like, they beat the Dodgers 2 out of 3, right? And now they have a couple layups, Oakland and Colorado, but they're hot right now. Now, the odds would depict that they are hot. Even since taking the screenshot for the graphic, their odds have moved 20 cents. They're minus 270 right now. Total sitting at 8, though. I think you can actually get it at 7.5 over on FanDuel, if I'm not mistaken. So if that's the case, I think I lean towards 7.5 over. And yeah, that's it. I don't think that there's anything really worth it. Maybe San Diego on the run line, but they just barely covered that yesterday. But pitching for them today is Blake Snell, so that's at least really trustworthy going up against Ryan Feltner, who has been pitching pretty poorly. So San Diego on the run line definitely has a chance of being a play, but they've just covered this thing so much. As favorites, they've covered it in 5 straight games, and I'm like, at some point that has to fall off too, right? Like, this is the Padres. They're not that good of a team. Blake Snell makes them good. I get that. But it could keep us off of it, if that makes sense. So I like the over 7.5. Hopefully we can get that there. 8, I probably stick away from it, and then I consider San Diego on the run line, but I got to think twice, 3 times, 4 times about it, because even though they've looked good, they're still the Padres, and they're still not the most consistent team in the league, right? Like, they're 5 games below 500, 73 and 78 record. That's not all that great. All right, Oakland taking on Seattle, a team that we have banned here. The total down at 7.5. Again, Luis Castillo on the mound for Seattle, Paul Blackburn on the mound for Oakland. I guess we just lean towards the over again. This is what sucks when, you can also have some fun and comedy in your life when sports betting. Like, obviously, the play here would be to look at the Mariners, but, we ban them. Like, I don't consider them. We got to stick to it. At some point, we're making videos too. It's not just like a mental ban where no one knows about it. Like, I want to ban this team. They screwed us. We won so much money with Seattle, and then all of a sudden they were like, you know what? We'll take it all back. Give me and then some, right? Let's come on now, which is crazy. So I'm gonna look at the over in this spot because I do think 7.5 is super low. That's what it finished at yesterday, or was yesterday, right? And it was only 5-0, but nonetheless, Luis Castillo is probably gonna throw a wrench into that really good pitcher. Kind of sucks that we banned them, but it is also fine because they're minus 205 favorites. So we wouldn't be looking at Seattle on the money line anyways, but you definitely can't take the run line minus 1.5 on a team that you just have foregone and banned for the season, right? But yeah, over 7.5, only lean in the spot. Hopefully Oakland can give us some, because I think this is a no-brainer if they do. All right, Dodgers taking on Detroit. I hate to end it with a nothing here, but we don't know either pitcher for this, so we don't have a money line. We don't have the run line. We don't have the total odds or line or anything like that. Yesterday, the Dodgers win 8-3, kind of like we thought. I will say, I think I like the under that, but, ends up not coming through. That was an 11 run. We didn't make it a final play either way, but even if we did, it probably would have lost based on how we did yesterday. You guys were probably like, stop talking about how you lost so much yesterday. And I'm thinking, I told you guys, forget yesterday, and here I'm being like, yesterday. But if you do it with a smile on your face and confidence going into the next day, it's all right. But yeah, guys, I guess we lean towards the Dodgers depending on what those odds are going to be. But yeah, I'm imagining that they're going to be some pretty bad odds. So I'll lean towards the Dodgers, but keep an eye on Pincom to see if we end up rolling with anything there. And that is going to do it for today. Let's go and bounce back. Again, remember to comment bounce back if you were still watching, or if you're still watching now, comment bounce back. And I think it was 22 was the number that we threw out there as well. But comment bounce back, guys. Show that you were a real one. Go pick up some Fade Me merch. See, this is the type of days where I'm like, please someone order. We had such a bad night. Last night is everything that we've built in this media world and content just crumbling. Like, is it all over? Just kidding. But yeah, we'll catch you guys in the next video, all right? Peace out.